What's going on, guys? A big welcome to you all to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta, and today you're here with D-Boy, and we will be talking about set 3. So set 3 right here, we talk about Dark State, and we will talk about all the cards from Dark State, and this is definitely very interesting because there is lots of commotion right now around the D format, and I don't want to take part of it, not because I'm a big Bruce fan or Spike Brothers fan in general. It's just because of the fact that right now, the way that I play the game, and most of us from Crushing the Meta, is we enjoy the game and we play whatever we like. We never picked up the deck that was meta to play and win. That's why we are called Crushing the Meta. And the results that we have got as players to top and even go to Japan, that was just a bonus. We actually did not intend to go that far, but it was just because we were enjoying ourselves and playing the game. We had fun and we were able to get that far. And talking about the three formats that we have right now, Premium, V, and D, is that you could play whatever format we played. And again, about the commotion that we are having with Bruce and with the new Triple R and with Leonard and everything, a different fight, Solomon Vanguard, Eric from Vanguard Insider, all three of them did an amazing job to cover those problems and how you could deal with them. And you could just go and check their channels out. They did an amazing job. For me, I will not go into that. I will just look at the bright side and see what the format would do. Also remember, guys, that these cards will be up in December. Until then, with playtesting and understanding everything, you should be good to go when it comes to countering those decks. We have had multiple good decks in the past, and even in the format with tier 0 decks, as like the time leap format, we still had decks that were able to win. And this is the same. It's not a tier 0 yet, but again, we will have to wait and see. So what could you expect from me when it comes to this video? Again, I will skip all the bullshit and just dive into it. We'll talk about all the Dark State cards when it comes to set 3. We will reveal the card, we'll talk about the card, and then later on we will talk about how good the card is and what will it do in the D format. We'll not go into the premium format. So this will be a long ass video. So if you're not prepared, get something to drink, something to eat, because again, you should look at it as a movie. So I will do the commons, the rares, the double rares, and then I will go to the triple rares. But before I could do that, there is an important card that we need to talk about, which is the new boss monster, which is Greedon. So Greedon is basically the new big boy. It's the new big boss, and he is definitely very good. The thing about this card is that I like the most, it has a very different playstyle from what we had experienced in the past. It's a little bit of Pale Moon, a little bit of Dark Irregulars put together and made into this beautiful, well-dressed gentleman. So basically, the first thing when I saw this card is I wanted to play the deck. I didn't know what the card does, and I hoped for something different. And the way that it looks right now is the deck is more kind of fun deck than it's just too strong or just something that will blink right away. And that's what I also like about it. I think that it's a deck with lots of potential when played right, and in the future the deck will become even better and better. So what does Greedon do? Well, first of all, the flavor text, that's not fulfilling at all. Let me have your body as well. So again, these kind of things, these kind of details are just amazing. The colors that he has, the purple and the blue, perfect, because the new color for Dark State is of course blue. Well, we love the old purple color, and put together into, again, this beautiful card is just really good. Of course, it has the persona right as every other grade 3 in this format, and it has two abilities. The first one is a continuous ability, and if your soul has a Greedon, so whenever you soul chart him or persona right, then your damage will go up to 7. This skill is better than most people think. First of all, when you get to the 6 damage, your opponent would not be able to miracle heal. It is just different. It's something that we didn't have experience in the past. Of course, we have seen that with Angel Feathers kind of healing, but this is definitely interesting. Again, we're not talking about premium, we'll just talk about the D format itself. So that first ability is actually quite good. Not only a heal or a extra damage that you could take, but you have to think about the way that your opponent will not be able to heal anymore when you get to that 6 damage. The second ability is, at the end of the battle, this unit attacked, Soul Blast 2, put 4 standing rear guards into your soul and stand this unit. If your soul has 10 or more cards, this unit gets the extra 15k power until the end of turn. First thing about the ability, it's not once per turn, so there will be one point in time where we will be able to stand this unit twice, and it will attack 3 times a turn. So, first thing that comes to mind, there will be cards that will give this card extra crit, extra drive check. Think about the over trigger of the nation, which gives extra power and a crit, which all of that put with this card is actually quite impressive. Also, the fact you need to remember that in the future, as I said, there will be cards that will make this card even better. So the foundation that this card have put is amazing. So again, I will definitely play this deck. I think this will be my second deck when it comes to the D format, because I didn't build any other deck, and except Bruce, of course, because Bruce is Spike. And this is definitely the deck that I wanted to build. It's more of a fun deck for me, but definitely a deck that I think has lots of potential. Alright, now, we have talked about Greedon. Now we could actually zoom back and talk about every other card for the Dark States from the booster box. So we will again jump and talk about all the Dark State cards. So the first card that we have right here is Blitz Order. Then of course we have the starter, and then everything else. Oh. Alright, so these are the cards that are revealed right here, and we will talk about all of them. We'll start with the commons. So the first card that we have right here is of course the Blitz Order, and this Blitz Order actually threw me off, because this was revealed before Greedon was revealed, and I thought that the skill of Greedon activates whenever you soul charge, even if you're in your opponent's turn. And that's when this card came in, and it said, if your soul has 4 or more cards, soul charge 1, choose one of your opponent's attacking Vanguards, and it gets minus 5k. So I thought that the thing is with this card is actually to just soul charge during your opponent's turn, which will activate some kind of a skill. So for now, I don't really see this card being played that much. First of all, it only minuses the opponent's Vanguard, so when attacking Vanguard, it's not that good. The second thing is, it's only 5k for the end of the battle, which is not the end of turn. Again, lots of things that make this card, I would not say unplayable, but for now, not that good. But if in the future we will get cards, even in premium, that will activate whenever you soul charge, even if you're during your opponent's turn, this card would definitely be effective. Alright, so next card we have right here is of course the starter. This is a beautiful art, and I would definitely be playing this card, I think maybe even in Bruce. Look how cute this card is, and the thing about these cards that I like that much is that they look a little bit like Cray Elementals, and that's one of the reasons why I like these cards a lot, Greedon and his minions. Because in the past, for Spike Ball players, we actually had to play lots of Cray Elemental cards because our card pool was not that big. And this does remind me of that a little bit, so I really like the fact that we could play cards like these. And I think you could get them in SP, so I would definitely be playing this card. Alright, next we have another really good card when it comes to those Cray Elemental cards, or let's say the Greedon minions. So this card's ability is, act from your soul. If your Vanguard is Greedon, then you may put this card into the drop zone, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets plus 5k until the end of turn. So it's basically a Soul Blast 1 for the extra 5k on Greedon, which you will get twice. There are good things and bad things about this card. First of all, put this card into your drop zone. The cost is that you have to Soul Blast this card, and if the deck comes short on soul, then it actually is less effective. This card could have been better if this said when you Soul Blast this card, it could get the power, or when you Soul Charge this card, it could get the power. But then again, if that was the case, then you will only get it on the second attack, so I could understand them making the skill like this for the next turn whenever you Soul Charge this. So a good common, not that good, but it's definitely good, and just a card that you could play in Greedon as whenever you make a deck by itself without adding lots of the other cards. Next we have is another crazy card for Greedon. So this card has, when this unit's rode upon by the grade 2, so we have of course the right chain. So this is the grade 1 from the right chain. When it's rode upon by the grade 2, reveal a Greedon from your right deck and draw a card. So this is basically an easy draw, and it works. I mean, it's good. You could even play this in Bruce if you want to. I mean, it works, but then doesn't work because you don't have Greedon in your right deck. So pretty well thought, I would say. That's just an easy extra draw. The second ability, on the other hand, is also very impressive. It said when this unit is put from Vanguard into your soul by your Vanguard ability, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, counterblast 1, and until the end of turn, when your opponent would call cards from his or her hand to Guardian Circle, they must call 2 or more at the same time. So this is one of the cards that will be very effective in Premium. We said we will not talk about Premium, but you have heard this, and this card will be effective for Premium. And this is, I think, easy design fault. I think that they should have said that your Vanguard needs to be a Greedon and not needs to be a grade 3 or greater. Because in the future, if we will have cards in Bruce, or we will have Bruce itself not put Vanguard into the soul, of course, but if we will have cards that, I don't know, for some reason could give a skill to the Vanguard that you could put into your soul, I don't think that we will see that, but we will definitely see some crazy combinations with the premium decks. When it comes to the deck itself for Greedon, how good is this? Well, it's still very good, because that would mean that if you attack first with your Vanguard, you put this into your soul, then you have the first Vanguard attack, the second Vanguard attack, and the Vanguard attack. So 3 attacks that your opponent need to guard with 2 or more cards at the same time. So definitely a stable that you will put into your deck, put into the right deck, and then also put into your deck. It costs 1 counterblast, which is really not that much, and it has the perfect timing. So definitely a good card to add in your deck. Alright, next card is a beautiful card. I actually wanted this card to have even a better skill because of how beautiful the art is. I wanted it to be the triple R, which will get an SP off, because again, the amazing looking card. What the card does is auto on Vanguard at the start of your main phase. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, Soul Charge 1, and if you're running Final Rush, this unit gets the extra 5k. It needs to be a whole turn on the field for it to activate, because it's at the start of your main phase. You need to be in Final Rush, so it doesn't work before that. And yeah, I just don't understand the design of the card. At the start of your main phase, if you're grade 3, you Soul Charge 1. Okay, so even before that, but then you need to be in Final Rush for it to get the extra 5k. So is it just the Soul Charge? Don't we have lots of other cards that have way better Soul Charge? So again, for common it's good, but for this beautiful art is again wasted on a mediocre skill. So I don't know. I hope that this card would have a better skill, but it's not. If this was a draw trigger, that would have been better. Just draw trigger without the skill would have been amazing, because I would definitely play the card in my deck. Alright, so next card we have right here is another card, again with beautiful art, wasted on not that good of a skill. So this card said, auto on Vanguard, when this unit boosts a grade 3 unit, your opponent could not intercept until the end of battle. We had so much cards with that intercept ability, and it's just not needed. So again, wasted. Then we have another card which is definitely interesting, again for premium as well. So what this card does is put this unit into your soul, choose one of your Regards, and it gets plus 2k until the end of turn. Then, if your soul has 7 or more cards for the battle that Regard attacked this turn, if your opponent could not call grade 1 or greater from their hand to the guard circle. Again, a good card. Will we see it played that much? Maybe, but I don't think it's necessary to play in the decks that we have right now. First of all, the cost is put this card into your soul, then you choose a Regard, and then it gets the power. And then if your soul has 7 or more cards at the end of the battle Regard attack, your opponent could. It doesn't even give this skill to the Vanguard, when with that it will have been a great card to put with Greedon. So again, an interesting skill that maybe we will see much play. Even in Bruce it could be effective, or again in Premium it could be effective as well. This is another beautiful art put with a skill that is kind of interesting, but will it see plays? So what this card does is once per turn on Regard, when your soul charged by your card's ability, if you personalize this turn, you count +1 and you draw a card. First of all, it needs to be on the field for the skill, of course, to activate. Then you need to personalize this turn. So is it a good Regard to have on the field when you personalize? I don't know. I mean, it is good to play in Greedon because you could just put it into your soul anyway, but we have seen better cards to put in the deck. So again, interesting skill, but I don't think it will see that much play maybe in the future. Alright, so now we get into the rares. So we have talked about the commons, and now we get into the rares. So first of all, we have another normal order, which is definitely a very interesting one. And then we get into the critical, and then we get into the more and even more interesting cards that we have received for Dark State, because the support for Dark State is really amazing. Actually, all the support is good, but the support for Bruce is top notch. So the first card we've got is of course the new order card, which kind of works the same way as the older one, but it's a little bit different. So what this card does is you do need the Counterblast to activate it, and then you soul charge 4. Whoa! Counterblast 1 for soul charge 4 is already very good. Then, if you are in Final Rush, you could perform all the effects that you have below, depending on how many cards you have in your soul. So, if you have 2 cards and you activate this card and you go to 6, then you will get the ability to draw a card. If you already had 4 and then you activate this card, you go to 8, then your whole front row will get an extra 10k. Then, if you already had 8 and then you activate this card, you count +1, then you go to 12, then you choose one of your Vanguards and it gets a critical until the end of turn. Alright, so basically you will get the 6 and the 8. This possibility. Getting the 12 is too much, but you just draw a card and give your front row extra 10k, which the older order card already did, right? So what's the big difference right here? Well, the big difference is the soul charge 4. So if you activate this card, count +1, you soul charge 4, you go to 6, you already draw a card which gives you this card back, but pretty much you went to 6 soul. That's the most important part about this card. And the beautiful thing about this card is that this art is what happened before the other Blitz order. So this is just a flashback from them attacking. So that's also definitely very interesting. If you don't know what I mean, we will search for you so you could just see it. So we have right here, it's of course a grade 3. So we go into the grade 3s, and of course it's a normal order card and it's Hellblast Drive. So click on it, and pretty much this is when they attack, and this is just when they were talking about the tactics, and Bruce saying, "Yo, let's go." And you see Matt right here getting ready, and Richard and Steve, of course, and then right here they just go kaboom. So that's definitely really nice. If you ask me, I still think, of course, that Hellblast Full Dive is better, but having the option to play either one is also, of course, pretty good. Next card we have right here is of course the crit. The crit has the ability at the end of the battle this unit boost. You put this unit into your soul, choose one of your units and get plus 2k. This is actually quite good, especially in Bruce. Why? Because sometimes you just need that extra soul, and then this works perfectly to just give you that extra soul. It's just an extra soul charge, and the extra 2k comes at the end of the battle, so pretty good. You could just boost first with it, a boosted grade 2 maybe, so you make that 14 or whatever column you make with the amount of power that Bruce could get, and then at the end of the battle this pretty much goes into the soul. Give one of your other units the extra 2k, and from that moment on you just achieve more soul. It pretty much is kind of a -1 if you think about it, but it's just an extra card on soul, so definitely really good to have the option to play it. I myself, maybe I will not play it that fast because I just like the other arts more that we had for the crits, but definitely it's a good card to play just a 2-off or whatever. Alright, also we will get this card in SP, so yeah, there's a big chance that I will play it. If I play the 6 crits, then this would be the extra 2, but I will not play 4 of this. Next, we have another Greedon card, or the art looks like a Greedon card. So this is one of the new grade 2s. And this said, when this unit is placed on Vanguard from hand, if your Vanguard is Greedon, you Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 2. Again, heavy soul cost, but you do put 4 Vanguard into your soul each turn, so that's good. Choose a card from your soul and call it to Vanguard. So this card actually does give you the ability to call from soul, but that call needs to be very good, otherwise is it really good to Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 2 for the ability? It pretty much could be a +1 depending on how the deck would be built like and if you would have enough soul. The second ability is when your Vanguard attacks, if you Persona Rogue this turn, you choose one of your Vanguards and it gets the extra 5k. This ability is also very good because it's not once per turn when your Vanguard attacks, so if you leave this on the field as the last attacking Vanguard, then you basically could give your own Vanguard twice the extra plus 5k, which again, pretty cool. So a good card that you will actually would like to play in Greedon. Now we get the grade 2 from the right deck, and again, beautiful art. I really love the art of Greedon a lot. So when this unit rolled upon by Greedon, put a card from your hand into your soul. Search your deck for a card with the same card name as this card, reveal it and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. Again, let's read it again. When this unit is rolled upon by Greedon, put a card from your hand into your soul. Search your deck for one card with the same card name as this card, not Greedon, and then you put it into your hand. In your soul, during your turn, if your damage zone has 4 or more cards, Greedon on your Vanguard get plus 5k. This skill activates from your soul, so you need to keep as much copies of this card into your soul, which will make your Greedon stronger. Okay, so we have already seen Greedon will be pretty big. Yep, it will, and that's just really cool. So again, I really love the art. The skill is actually pretty balanced. It's not crazy good. It doesn't give you a second Greedon, it just gives you a copy of him. But again, you need to put a card from your hand into the soul. But putting a card from your hand into the soul is actually quite interesting, because you could just put another copy of it into your soul, or put whatever into your soul that you could soul blast and activate for your Greedon skill. Also, Greedon is actually a deck that could play more draw triggers, but is it needed? We will have to see while testing it. Right here we have another interesting card. It works with Magnus, and it's actually a card that I've seen quite well with the premium build that you could make with Spypros, focusing on the Magnus. But again, we'll not go too much into premium. When this unit is placed on Vanguard, if your Vanguard is Magnus, Counterblast 1, choose any number of normal units from your soul and put it into your deck. We'll talk about that. And the unit gets plus 5k until the end of turn for each card chosen. So you return the cards into your deck and shuffle it. Pretty much the good thing about this card is as we have seen back in the days for Dark Irregulars, it's a good way to have some cards back into your deck, which means it will be easier for you to survive one more turn or have more cards into your deck. But this in Premium actually has a different objective, which is just putting the right cards back to your deck so you could actually have them out of your deck and attack again with them with the GP8 for Spike Brothers. Again, interesting tactics. I do think that it's good, but it doesn't quite good as well as the normal Rising deck, for the fact that that deck creates more marker, having the Force 2, stronger attacks, and blah blah blah. So again, interesting, but I don't think that I would play it. Maybe build it for fun, but it's not fun. So why build it? Okay, next card we have right here is a definitely beautiful art. Again, one of my favorite arts from the set, and all of these Spike Brother cards just look really good. The color is like, again, the purple, the blue, the green, everything put together, amazing. The skill of the card is actually quite well as well. So it's on Vanguard and Act ability. You Soul Blast 2 until the end of turn. All of your front row units get an extra 5k. And if you are in Final Rush, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets +1 crit. Again, focusing on the Vanguard getting a crit. What's up with that? Bruce doesn't really need a crit. It's not even the main attacker of the deck. So why? I don't know. But again, interesting choice. For the Soul Blast of 2, you could give power to the front row. Again, I don't think that the deck could afford Soul Blasting or even Counter Blasting, because you have so many cards with really good Counter Blast abilities. Alright, so now we have talked about all the rares. Now we jump into the double rares. Okay, we have only the double rares and the triple rares left. So let's click on the double rares and let's also find the triple rares. And let's click on Derick right here because we have already talked about Greedon. We'll leave the last, the most hated card for last, which is this beautiful, cute art. Yep, you heard me right, cute. So now we have another of these disgusting, beautiful creatures, and another card for Greedon, you would say. So what this card does is when this unit is placed on Vanguard, if you have Persona right this turn, you Soul Charge 1. Again, it's kind of that you need to Persona right each time playing Greedon, but this ability could also work in any other deck as long as you Persona right. So sure, the extra Soul Charge is just a plus. Then auto, when this unit is put from Vanguard into your soul by your Vanguard's ability, you counterblast 2, you choose one of your Vanguards, it gets plus 5k and a drive check +1. So again, counterblast 2 for extra drive check, but it's a double drive check because you will definitely attack twice with your Greedon, and that's pretty good. It's really good. But when you read the card again, when this unit is put from Vanguard into your soul with your Vanguard ability, so you will not get the first drive check on your Vanguard. You actually play a counterblast of 2 for only 1 extra drive check on the second attack of Greedon. But if in the future we will be able to attack with Greedon 3 times, then you will be able to activate this card ability twice or get the benefit of drive checking the 3rd time twice. Again, it is a double rare, I get it, but the cost is heavy, and you only get it on the second attacking, which I think they could have given the extra drive check on the first attack as well, especially because this card is a double rare. But all in all, it's a good card. It's an interesting card to have in Greedon. I myself will not be focusing on this card too much because I think it's a heavy cost. But Greedon himself doesn't cost a counterblast, so I guess you could use it. Maybe activate it once a game. Sure. Alright, now we get to more Final Rush support. Again, a beautiful art with an interesting skill. This skill is actually quite good, but it's not a it's a card that will not see plays right away. Why? We'll talk about it. First, acts. Vanguard. Once per turn, if you are in Final Rush, you counterblast 1, you put one of your other Vanguards into your soul. You choose a card from your soul, you call it to Vanguard, and that unit and this unit get the extra 10 cape. Whoa! First of all, that unit and this unit get an extra 10 cape. So you're already benefiting the extra power. Then you could call from your soul. So everything that you soul charge that you didn't want to soul charge, E Marjorie, E Leonard, E Derick, whatever, all of your attackers, you get them out of your soul. What does it cost you? Only E counterblast. That's the only thing. The downside is that when this card get E 10k, pretty much you'll only attack, or I mean boost with it once, because this will not be your attacker. But if you only have this card in your hands or on the field with something else, you pretty much could make the right field with getting the right cards out of your soul. So it's a card that is timeless. Again, a card is timeless is a very good card because it doesn't, it's not the card by itself that makes this card good. It's everything you have in your soul and everything that will come in the future. I don't think that this card will see plays right away, not at 4, maybe at 1 or at 2 as a tech card, because it costs a counterblast and now we have better cards with better combos, but definitely a card that you have to get, because this card you need to have when the right time, and you will need to build a deck using this card. Me myself, I think I would definitely give it a chance, because depending on the cards pool that we have, this could be added 1 or 2 off in the deck when you have the space for her. Why do I say when you have the space for her? Because we actually have other cards that are quite good as well. Another double R of the set, which is again a very interesting card. It's a card that set continuous on the Guardian Circle if your soul has 7 or more cards. This card gets an extra 5k shield. It's just a grade 2 with extra 5k shield, and whenever you guard with it, it goes to your soul. It's a good filler card that you could play in whatever deck that you want to play. Just again, a good card that could just be a filler, and that's it. That's everything that this card does. And now we get to the last card, and it's Derick. And then this is where all the hate came from, or well, when people exploded talking about Bruce, talking about the deformat, and talking about the approach that Bushrod got. When Leonard was introduced, I said that that was the perfect guard to add for Bruce. And it's not because Leonard is so good, it's because it's a grade 2 and it's playable and it's a 4 off. In my eyes, a good support is the support that Spike Brother got. Each and every set in the past. If you don't agree with me, go and watch the history of Spike Brothers, the first episode that I've made on our channel, where I talked about playing Spike Brothers during the whole 10 or 11 years that I played the game from the start. We didn't really get that much support, but the support that we have got was good. The Break Ride was good, the Legion was good, everything was good, Rising was good, the Strides were good. Everything that we have got was very good, but we didn't get that much support. The same thing is happening right now. From the first set, from Marjorie to Leonard to this card, everything that Bruce is getting is good. Even the great one that we have just saw is a really good card. But whenever you do this and you give it each set the right support, you're basically making Spike Brothers, but you are giving the support each set. And this is what happened. You are creating a monster. And this monster right here is insane. Derick is really good. It's not broken, and it will definitely not make Bruce a tier 0 deck. I don't think so. I've tested the deck. I know what it's capable of. But yes, the deck is definitely tier 1. Yeah, it's very strong. Even without this card, it's tier 1. But why is this card so good? First, we'll read the skill and then come back and explain it. So, if you are in Final Rush, discard extra 5k. Okay, this is the third card that has the same ability. Let's go back and talk about that. First, when we get to the set before this, we will have Leonard. Alright, okay, D-Boy, Leonard, we all know what Leonard does. Let's go even back in time and get to set 1. What we will have, let's see, we have Eden. Alright, Eden, first ability. If you're on Final Rush, discard, get an extra 5k. Just that part of the ability. Leonard, if you're on Final Rush, discard, get the extra 5k. Again, a good attacker. Basically, we now have 3 grade 2s that are very, very strong, right? Let's just put it at full because it's easier to read. And of course, because my Japanese is not that good, we'll just leave the fucking Derick right here. Alright, so Derick's second ability, an act on Vanguard. Interesting, not an auto, it's an act. Once per turn, counterblast 1. Put a Vanguard into your soul. Choose one of your opponent's Vanguards for every 4 cards you have in your soul and retire it. Then, if you are in Final Rush, look at the same number of cards from the top of your deck as the number of your opponent's open Vanguard circle. Choose any number of cards from among them, call them to Vanguard circle, and put the rest into your soul. Okay, let me take a sip. Okay, how do you counter Leonard? You basically counter Leonard by not having lots of Vanguards on the field. Okay, what does Derick do? Derick actually punishes your opponent by not having that much Vanguards on the field. Okay, but it's like a Ronaldo, right? So you counterblast 1, you put one of your Vanguards into your soul, and then you choose some of your opponent's Vanguards and retire them. Okay, that's good, but it's not broken. I mean, Eden also could retire, but then Eden needs to hit and still cast the counterblast. So you're taking Eden out and you're putting Derick in, because you could always at least retire 1, right? I mean, come on, you need to have 3 cards in your soul, and then using this card ability you put the 4th one in. But then you come to the second part of the ability. You look at the same number of cards at the top of your deck as the number of open Vanguards your opponent has. If you have only retired 1, then you actually could only call 1, so you break even. But that doesn't make this card good at all. So if your opponent has a full field, then your Leonards will be active very good, but this card will not be active that much. So you will be having a deck that works strange. You could go Derick, you could go Leonard, you go first Derick and then Leonard, and then after that, what will happen right here? Does this make the deck broken? No, it does not. Why not? Because this card calls from the top of your deck. I mean, let's say that your opponent has the whole back row with no Vanguards, right? So you activate this card ability and maybe you retire one of their front row, and now they have 4 open Vanguard circles. What will happen? What will this card do? The second part of the ability. If you are in Final Rush, look at the same number of cards as the number of your opponent's open Vanguard circle. 4. You look at 4 cards. Then choose any number of cards from among them and call them to Vanguard circle, and put the rest into your soul. So you have 4 cards from the top of your deck and you could call from them and put the rest into your soul. That's definitely good. They would have said put the rest into the bottom of your deck, but no, they said put the rest into your soul, so it's also extra soul charge. But from the top 4 cards, maybe you have 4 triggers, or 3 triggers, or 2 triggers. You don't have the ability to put them into the bottom of your deck. You have to put them into your soul, call them to the field. So yes, again, it's kind of like a Ronaldo. Ronaldo was just called on the field, count +1, put 1 card from your hand into your soul, and you basically could call from the top 3. You could call 3 cards, and that was it. Nobody said Ronaldo was crazy, insanely good. Maybe because Ronaldo came later, I don't know. this card came too early. Yes, I think it's a set too early. I think that whenever you give a support card like Leonard, you just need to still keep Eden in the deck. But I mean, people took Eden out even before we knew that this card will come out, because they just focused on Leonard and Marjorie. So yeah, I do think that the card is good. I don't think the card is broken. I love the art. I love the way that this card works. And yeah, it's just a really good card. Not broken, but definitely will take the deck to the next level, because of the fact that when people want to counter Leonard, they will not be able to counter it well with having cards like this. And when we get back and talk about Greedon, Greedon also eats your Vanguards. So basically you will end your turn with having only the Greedon and one Vanguard on the field. And with this, you will retire that last Vanguard, but then you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and that could be a downside, because it's not up to you. It's look at the top cards of your deck as a number of your opponent's Vanguard circle, not look at up to. It's not up to. It's not up to you. You have to do that, and you have to put the rest into your soul. So the deck already soul charges much, and with having this card extra in the deck, then you will not be able to get the Marjorie skill off. With Leonard, when he hits, you need to soul charge. I mean, there are lots of things right here happening that people that just read the card do not understand yet. So again, I think that the card is good. I think that the card will take the deck to the next level, but it will not make it tier 0. And I don't think that you could focus too much on this card. Still cost a Counterblast, still cost a Vanguard. It doesn't plus you right away. You also don't know what the plus would be. You will check the top card of your deck, and sometimes it's a trigger that you will just put into your soul or call it on the field as a booster, and that's it. Not every card that you check from the top of your deck will be a Leonard. Also, think about this and go back in time and think about the order card that we already play in our deck, Hellblast. Hellblast already calls to the front row for you, basically to give the front row extra power. So having this, will you activate it before Hellblast? You could, and then what you call from this card will get to the front row, then you activate Hellblast, and from Hellblast you call to the back row. I mean, there are lots of ifs right here. Could you see what happens when you test and see what the card is capable of, and then come and talk? Did Bruce get too much support? Yes. Did the support that Bruce got was good? Yes. Did it make the deck broken? No. Why not? Because these cards don't really work that well together. This card and Leonard were not supposed to be put in the same deck. You could not agree with me right here. You said, yo, D-Boy, you do put them in the same deck, but you activate them on different match. Okay, agree with that. But how will you use this card with Hellblast? You will not. It's not possible. So again, strange. Will Eden still be playable? Eden still get the extra 5k and a crit. Eden still has the pressure in the early game. Yeah, I think the card has potential, agreed. But you still need to be in Final Rush, which means you cannot activate in the early game, which means Eden will still be sometimes the better choice depending on the format. So all in all, the card is insanely good, but the card is not broken. And for people to be this mad, it's not like when the time that Zazan came out, well, people actually needed to be mad for Zazan to not see a full out Zazan format, although I still like Zazan as a card, but as a one-off, not more than that. And this card doesn't need to be hit. Does Leonard need to be hit? I don't know. I don't think that is necessary. Leonard is a guard on a different level than this card. Definitely this is not close to Leonard, because this card is situational. And this card, you don't know what you will get from the top of your deck. And it's not up to you to put these cards back into the bottom of your deck or anything. No, you need to call them or put them into your soul. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so all in all, I think the support that Final Rush got is really good. The support that Dark State got is really good. And Greedon, definitely very interesting deck that I will build right away. So if you guys are interested to see what the deck is capable of or how the deck would look like, let me know in the comment section below, and I will make sure to make you a deck profile very soon on Greedon. Thank you all for watching, thank you for joining our channel, thank you for enjoying these videos, and we would love to see you in the next video as well. So till next time.